Hey guys, and welcome to a special edition of A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Real Hondo Prep Athletics. We'll say today, as we usually talk RHP football on this podcast, but it's a rather special occasion for Real Hondo, specifically the girls basketball team. The young ladies did achieve the postseason this year after a second place finish in the prep league, an 18-5 overall record, and they will be competing starting this week in the CIF Southern Section Division 4 AA playoffs. So quite an achievement for the young ladies. I've seen all kinds of press clippings and videos and stats, and it really sounds like they got themselves quite a basketball team. And you guys are well aware that this podcast, I have dedicated my time and effort into Real Hondo football specifically, but I did say that, if some teams make a playoff run or there's some big events, that we will occasionally dive into those teams as well. So I haven't had an opportunity to get to any of the games this year, but I've been watching closely, and the Real girls team, basketball team has had a phenomenal season, and they are led by a few stars, really. I shouldn't say led, because the team, at least on paper, it seems like is very well balanced indeed. They're a team that, a few names obviously make the press clippings here and there, but man, the ball seems to be spread around quite a bit. And pull up some stats here that I know of, but this team, it sounds like they're a lot of fun to watch, and shame on me for not being able to get out to a game or two this year. I took some time off after the holidays and everything, but as far as the Rio athletic programs go, it's tough to stay on top of it all, but we try to do our best here. Our last podcast was back in December after Ryan McCulloch officially signed with the Cal Bears. So that was a fun podcast, kind of wrapping up the football season, if you will. And I knew that down the road, we probably would have a podcast here set aside for the young ladies at Real Hondo Prep. They did have a great volleyball season, got to the postseason, had to play out at Riverside Poly, pretty big school out there, and lost that game in a few sets. But the girls athletic program has really evolved and achieved some great success in recent years. And I think that's a tribute to the character of the young ladies, the work ethic they put in. I don't know any of them really, but from what I've seen, from what I hear from their coaches, it sounds like they put in a lot of work. They really enjoy playing with each other, and they're just great teammates. So a few things to note here. Reagan Johnson leads the way for the Kares, 11 points per game. Emma Carson right behind her at 10.3 a game. Elle Curtis, 9.5 points a game. So the team is pretty well balanced. I mean, if you got three people there with almost 10 points a game or whatever, that's pretty good balance indeed. And then someone who stood out to me in articles and such is Sophia Tarampi. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I'm nicknaming her Sophia Trey Ampy, because I did see recently, I think it was against Chadwick, hit 6 3-pointers in a game. I don't know that I hit 6 3-pointers in my entire high school career. Well, there was one JV game against Pasadena Poly where I couldn't miss for some reason. I don't know what happened, but we're not here to talk about me and my lack of basketball success. But anyway, Tara Riley, rebounder. Emma Carson, who I mentioned, a big rebounder on this team. And Sydney Diaz, Ivani Ortega seem to be some of the defensive players on this team. Tara Riley pops in on the defensive side of the ball as far as steals per game and such. So I don't know a ton about these ladies. Again, I've seen a few of them back in the day. I used to officiate, I think, some of their games, those junior high games they were playing. It's hard to believe they are they're grown up and big varsity players now, but we are going to talk Rio basketball today on the girls' side of things, and we are going to be joined briefly here by Tiffany Horton, who is an assistant coach on the team and also has recently taken over the girls' athletic program, following in the footsteps of her mother, Mrs. Christina Horton. So Christy Horton, excuse me. I lose track sometimes. Christina Horton is Mrs. Horton, the English teacher. Christy Horton is the great leader in the girls' athletic program. So Tiffany Horton has taken over. We'll talk to her a little bit about that. And this is kind of fun, bringing back the Charge to Keep podcast here in what is this, February now, after, a few months off. I keep getting so excited about the next football season and the content we're going to put out in the summer. But I'm hoping here that maybe for the next few weeks, we're going to have some girls basketball games to talk about. And the CIF pairings did come out today, just about an hour ago, and it was discovered that Rio would be hosting Whittier Christian from not too far away, right up the road there in La Habra, Whittier area. They are coming to the Stivers Center in there at 5150 Farna Avenue, and they will be taking on our young ladies in the first round of the CIF Southern Section playoffs. Rio with an 18-5 record, Whittier Christian with a 9-19 record. So they must have had some good success in their league play to get in the postseason. But, as it is with any sport, when the playoffs come around, you throw the records out the window. Everyone's trying to just survive and advance, and anything could happen. You could run into, an injury, a bad referee call or crew or whatever. You could run into a hostile environment. There's all kinds of things that you can run into in the postseason that could change the outcome of things. So you got to be ready to compete and not take any opponent for granted. And I know that these Cares, led by head coach Joe Parker, definitely will not take any opponent for granted at all whatsoever. So it was Joe Parker who led the Cares in softball last year into the postseason with a great team there. And then I'm not positive who coaches the volleyball team. Pardon me for that, but the volleyball team did advance to the postseason this fall, and now the girls basketball team, with on paper looks like one of the best basketball teams we have had. And girls basketball, I would say, has kind of been the most consistent sport on the girls side of things. At least it seems to me. We got to witness teams in 06 go to the finals. A few years later, I think they were in it again. They did win a championship not too long ago, I believe, as one of the banners hangs there in the Stivers Center. But girls basketball has a rich tradition at Rio Hondo, with a couple titles there in the early 90s, 90 and 94, I believe, with some state tournament runs as well. So I thought, hey, it's February. We're a long way from football season. Let's pay tribute as best we can to the young ladies at Rio Hondo Prep, who, among other things, have started up another semester or a trimester, whatever they are at Rio. Recently, I saw an inaugural with the school there, the Academy Awards. So there's a lot going on at Rio Hondo right after the Christmas break and New Year's and everything. And then all of a sudden, basketball, league play, the postseason. I did see some clips about the ladies beating Poly, which is great in any sport. Again, a 9-3 finish in league, only losing to Flint Ridge Prep twice, who finished undefeated, and has just been a juggernaut there on the girls' side of things in basketball. And then I think they may have split with either Chadwick or Poly, respectively. But today is about the future, what is upcoming. Let's talk to Tiffany Horton, the assistant coach for the Cares, and maybe after the game on Thursday, we'll get some quotes from Coach Parker, or maybe a player or two. But for today, we're going to talk to Coach Horton and learn a little bit about this team, what's to expect from them, maybe some big moments from the season, and just hear a little bit about the girls program. Since we put so much time and effort into the football side of things, it's a challenge to the other programs on campus to step forward and try to make a playoff run and get some publicity, right? Hey, I said, selfishly, hey, if any team on campus is making a playoff run, we'll give them some spotlight. We'll give them some time. So my time is limited, of course, and so much of it goes into the football season, but it's basketball playoff time here for the young ladies at Rio Hondo Prep. So let's dive into this upcoming game, which will be on Thursday. I haven't said that yet. Thursday, February 9th, 7:00, unless there's a time change. Rio Hondo will host the Whittier Christian Heralds, I believe they are. And the second round would be a quick turnaround Saturday night, the 11th. So that's what Rio's looking at. It's almost like that March Madness type of deal, where you go in on a Thursday, you play your second round game on a Saturday, or you play Friday and Sunday. It's like survive the weekend, get to the next weekend. I know that's what Rio Hondo wants to do here on Thursday night. One game at a time, but you do kind of look ahead. We're human. That's what we do. And Rio would play on Saturday if they happen to win this game. I'm not sure about the coverage, what will be available as far as video and things of that nature. The NFHS network, I don't know if Rio's been doing that in basketball, but I will try to get as much information I can in the next couple of days and definitely post it on our social media accounts, respectively, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, so that everyone who is, maybe hasn't tuned in a ton to Rio basketball the past few months, they can definitely watch this game, or at least hear from what happened, the sights and the sounds, if you will. And we'll definitely be recapping this next weekend. I'll try to throw something out on Sunday, recapping the game Thursday. Hopefully there's a couple games to recap. And we'll maybe bring back Coach Horton and talk to somebody else if the girls will be continuing their season. So that's some housekeeping, just kind of a brief schedule really as to the podcast. But I'm looking forward to bringing on Tiffany Horton and to hear about the girls program, specifically this team and their great success already on the 2022-2023 basketball season. Let's talk some playoff hoops with assistant coach Tiffany Horton. All right, I'm now joined by assistant coach Tiffany Horton, who is now, primarily in charge of the girls program as well, following in the footsteps of her mom, Christy Horton. Tiffany, welcome to the show. What's going on? You ready for some playoff basketball?
Thanks so much for having me. And yes, I'm very excited for this week's playoff game. And I know the girls are really excited too.
You know what's cool, when you look back at basketball at Rio, like girls basketball, there's been some great teams. A few banners have hung in the gym as well, and there's been some runner-up teams. I mean, girls basketball for the past, I don't know, however long it's been, has really been quite successful at Rio, it seems.
Yeah, I would give a lot of that credit to Mr. Parker. He really has pushed the girls program in a lot of ways. We've had the girls work on their shooting and just become really great shooters and just put a ton of work outside of basketball season. And yeah, it's crazy because we've had a lot of girls teams just go far. We've placed a lot of times in league, and it's hard because we're playing really good opponents. And a lot of girls we play have gone on to play, in D1 schools, and yet we're able to stick with them. And so it's a really fun program to be a part of for sure.
Well, the 210 Prep Sports articles have been, very generous to you guys, and something that they, I think, mentioned was you're finishing the Prep League this year. I believe it was second place, 9-3 finish. Flint Ridge went undefeated. They're quite a juggernaut. So as far as Prep League play in basketball, you guys have really shined this year, and I'm sure in previous years as well.
Yeah, so this year we placed second, which I mean, I went back as far as Max Preps would let me go, and no other team has finished in second. So, I mean, that's just a huge accomplishment for this group of girls. And yeah, we lost to Flint Ridge twice, but I mean, they're a phenomenal team. And then our only other loss was to Providence, who we lost to at home the first time we played them, but then we beat them away. And so we beat Poly and all these other big programs. I mean, especially Providence, I think, was a huge win for us. So been a great season this year.
Yeah, for sure. Tiffany, I looked at some of the stats on the team, and you got some scores. It doesn't seem like it's a one player team or anything. It's very balanced. Sophia Tarampi, is that how you say her name?
Yeah, Tarampi. Mm-hmm.
She can sure shoot it, man, from pretty far away. I saw she hit 6 3-pointers in a game. I don't think I hit 6 3-pointers my entire high school career. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, she has a great shot, but against Poly, it was a huge game for us, and she hit 6 3-pointers. And then more than that, she was driving into the paint as well. So I think it's one of the best games I've ever seen her play. And we also had Reagan, who another game hit 6 3-pointers. And so we've just had different girls each game get hot. And it's crazy because usually you have one main scorer. But I had somebody ask me the other day, they're like, who's your main scorer? And I actually didn't know who on our team had the most points. I had to go look because it's like we have so many girls who can score, and it's really close. Like we have one girl, Reagan scores about 11 per game, and then Emma's right behind her with 10.3. So we have a lot of girls on the court who can shoot, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a tribute to the hard work and the practice outside of practice, I'm sure. Talk to me about those seniors, if you will. Sophia, we mentioned, Reagan Johnson, we mentioned, Elle Curtis, another senior on this team. Those are kind of the big three as far as seniors go. You got juniors as well, but talk to me about just the senior leadership, if you would, of this team.
Yeah, the seniors this year have been really phenomenal. We just first off, they work harder than anybody else on the team. Like you could go out on the weekends, and I mean, multiple times I've just seen them shooting. And especially Reagan and Sophia, I think that's where their 3-point shot comes from. They just put in so much work, and I think it's nice to have that at practice because when the other girls come in, they know it's like, oh, like if I want to play this type of ball, like I have to go out and put in the work. And then Elle is just, man, she's great. Like she's another different type of leadership where she's the one who's like, she's planning our snack list. She is like getting everyone together. And I mean, Elle works hard too. Like her shot is also fabulous. I think she has our highest shooting percentage with 50%. She makes almost every shot she takes. But yeah, she also takes leadership on our team. And those three are just, they've been such a core group. But I should mention, our last game against Chadwick, Sophia, she did injure her shoulder. So she's
Mm.
unfortunately going to be out for playoffs right when she's getting hot. So that was kind
Oh,
of
man.
that's a huge bummer going into this week. But
What exactly
yeah,
happened? Is she out for the duration of the playoffs? Sound like a hard play or something?
yeah. So what happened was we were playing Chadwick. First off, as far as girls ref goes, you never get great refs. It's all part
Yeah.
of the game. That's how it
Yeah.
goes. So typical refs out at Chadwick, and it was starting to get a little bit tough out there. And there was one play she went down for a ball to get it, and this girl kind of jumped on her, and her shoulder slammed into the ground. We thought it might be a sprain, but the next day when she went in, they said she tore one of her muscles. And I
Uh,
was like, Sophia, you could still play with that, right? And she's like, no, well, if I play on it, I might have to get surgery. So like I'm out for, I think she said 4 to 6 weeks. So
oh,
yeah, it's not something we can tape up, which is brutal. But
that is a total bummer. Yeah, I got stepped on at Chet. I remember. I know what you're talking about there, Tiffany. Yeah, I got
yes,
my face stepped on back in the day when I was picking fights and stuff. But at Chadwick, yeah, weird gym, weird
yeah,
place.
it's
But
it's brutal.
bad things happen in
Yeah.
the dolphin tank. Well, as far as the rest of your roster, I
Yes.
again, I don't know these girls or anything, but I do see you have a Carson, you have a Johnson, so a few,
Yep.
care leader families there, but you also have a few names that I want to clarify here that stick out because they seem like I know a lot of the football players, of course, but these are some names that pop out, and I'm kind of like, okay, is there some relation here? We got an Avery Pollock, a Sydney Diaz. Is there relation there to Yannick
Hmm.
Diaz and okay?
Yes.
And then also El
No
Curtis is
relation
the
to
Curtis
Yannick
family?
Diaz.
No Yannick Diaz. Okay.
So no Yannick Diaz, but her dad, I think did play at Rio, and he was around. I think David
Dave
Diaz.
Diaz. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. No
And
relation
so,
there, but to Dave. Yeah.
yeah, L. Curtis related to the Curtises.
And
We've
then
got um
Ebony Ortega? Is she yeah?
Gio's sister, and then we have Madeline Van Cleve, Jack's sister,
Yep.
yeah, Emma. So we have a lot of names. Yeah, that are
It,
they have
yeah.
siblings who played.
Big
Yeah.
crossover. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
one big family affair at Rio, no matter the sport. And so, yeah, I saw some names there that popped out, and I was like, okay, I bet there's relation or some tie-ins there. So very cool for those who,
Yeah.
follow the football program. There's some family members doing really good things as well. You mentioned him already, Tiffany, but Joe Parker, who's been the head coach of the basketball team and also the softball team for quite some time and has kind of elevated those programs. Talk to me, if you would, about his coaching approach. And is it different with like a male coaching young ladies? Is there a different approach? I mean, are you kind of there to kind of help with that transition? I don't know exactly what I'm asking, but Coach Joe Parker coaching the young ladies seems to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
quite a bit of success.
Yeah, it's funny. It really is different when you have a guys coach versus a girls coach. There's just something about it. And obviously, I think his coaching style has changed since when I played for him. I mean, back then, I remember he used to just like yell at us, and we were like totally fine, you know. And like I'd say, like he has softened over the years for sure. But it's something about when there's a guy yelling at you to do something, you're just like, as a girl, like, man, like I have to do this. Like I've got to do it. And so like when he's telling him to do it, it's like there's more of an urgency. When like say he's not in the gym, he goes out to get something. I'm like, okay, girls, like let's do this. It's like, it's not as intense. So I would say he definitely brings like an intensity to the sports he coaches. And I mean, I love watching him coach during the games because he gets really into the game and he's very passionate about it. Yeah, and I think it just encourages the girls to push themselves more by having Mr. Parker coach them.
So is your primary duty then during the game to grab Coach Parker's shirt, pull him back sometimes when he's maybe getting a little fiery?
It's funny because sometimes I think I get fired up with him. I'm not good at pulling him back because I'm like also standing up. I've got to like get better at that. I feel like what I do is I'm more of like, Mr. Parker is yelling at him, but I'm with the girls. I'm like, more of like the cheerleader, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, like you're doing great. Like keep working out there, and just trying to like help them with their mental game. I would say more when they're out or on the bench. More relating to that. And then Mr. Parker's more giving them technical things out there. Yeah.
Well,
But I got to
do
work
know
on holding myself back.
we all do at times, I'm sure. But I know you come from a family that very competitive. We've all heard Mr. Chris Horton talk about competitiveness, and of course, Miss Christy Horton, same thing. I mean, growing up in that competitive Horton household, I mean, you still does that have spilled out into your coaching life these days?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like it's hard because I can't even let myself do anything with the girls because I'm too competitive. I just want to win. Like if we're at practice, I'm like, I can't engage with you guys. Like it's just gonna get out of control. But I mean, it's fun because I get to have that come out in coaching now and just share that, that love for like winning and just working hard, And I love that because I can still it's not like I'm playing anymore, but I still get to be a part of that competition. And yeah, as Hortons, don't worry. We still get our competitions every once in a while too. We haven't let go of that yet.
I've heard there have been some quite intense family Monopoly games and things of that nature. So, yeah, the Horton family definitely very competitive. Talk about your mom, who
Yes.
so many of the women who've gone through the girls program knew her as kind of the one in charge. Of course, Mrs. Johnson as well, but you've kind of followed in her footsteps. Talk to me about that transition, how much more your mom is involved, and kind of following in her footsteps, taking over the girls program.
Yeah, at first, it was really difficult. I mean, I was moving up from middle school, and I mean, I loved coaching middle school sports. I did it for a while. But high school is its own type of beast. There's so many different layers to it and different things going on. And what my mom does so well is she's such a good planner. She gets these events like going for the girls. She has like the season mapped out. She kind of has an idea of where she wants to go. I'm not as much of a planner by nature, so that's something I'm definitely working on coming into high school, just trying to get programs going that have long-term benefits, I guess you could say. But my mom definitely is still around helping plan the trips. She still does all the events. She still helps drive the bus. She still comes on the bench when I need like advice or things about the game, like, hey, like, what do you think we should do? How do you think it's going out there? And she definitely still brings her competitiveness and hype. She has her opinions. So she's still definitely giving to the high school girls program, but she's just not in as much day to day at the practices and things like that. And that's what I love. I love to just be on the ground, like working, like helping them out. And the management part I'm working on. I'm getting better at that as time goes.
Hey, sometimes it's a trial by fire and just learning as you go. But you sounds like you got someone who, you can go to for that advice and
Very
to
true.
definitely lead the way. I know so many ladies out there that were so inspired by Mrs. Horton over the years, as well as the other great leaders in the girls program. Do you feel like a sense of I don't know. It's a heavy responsibility. I'm not going to call it a burden, but a responsibility to kind of carry on that tradition in the girls program.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's a burden in some ways, but it's a great one. Like I love it. It's something where it's like just being with those girls every day and just, checking in to see how they are. That's what's most important. And that's why I love Rio, because it's like, yes, like sports are so important, but it's just like who these people are becoming and just like being there for them. And that it's just like such an honor to be a part of that. And I know, yeah, my mom and my aunt and all the other high school girl coaches have done such a great job. And I'm glad that I get to do it now. So, yeah.
Sounds awesome. Let me ask you briefly, if you would, about the upcoming opponent, Whittier Christian, a team that's not too far from you guys. They're coming to the Stivers Center Thursday night for the first round of the playoffs. Do you know anything? Do you know anything about them yet, or are you, have you done any scouting or anything like that? Do you know anything about their record or anything?
So I've done a little scouting, but we just got the brackets a little while ago. We don't really have many common opponents. I think the only team we both played is Rosemead. And we beat them by a lot more than they did, but that was like their first game of the season. So it's not like a great tell of what they're going to be. We'll probably try to watch game film or do some other things, but I think we definitely have a good shot of winning. They're not like super high ranked, and it looks like they haven't played like it's not like they've played outstanding competition. They're right in our area, so it should be a good game. And I'm hoping on Thursday that the kids have already started in our group text figuring out what type of spirit night it's going to be. I don't know if you've heard about our other spirit nights this year, but they did like a cow night. They've done like random stuff. So yeah, they did black and white. So, it should be fun, and we'll get like a good crowd going. And yeah, once we get more research in, we can figure out how to prep them for this Thursday.
See, one of the good things about the girls being in the playoffs is that all of the boys, all of the high school boys can be in the stands losing their mind. I
Yes,
heard they made
yes.
the trip to Riverside for the volleyball game. What can you tell me about the boys cheering on the ladies there, the Kare Crazies, we could call them?
Actually, my favorite games, I mean, even when I wasn't coaching high school, is when high school girls played, because the boys get to cheer. And there's just like nothing like it when they get up in the stands and they're just coming up with their random chants and they're just yelling. Like, it's just like, it's so much energy. I mean, football, of course, has its own energy. Like, the crowd is huge. But like, when you're in a gym and you have like the high school boys, it's something else. And they usually come up with something witty to yell that they kind of slightly get in trouble for, but it's overall a great time. Um, and yeah, like they came out to our volleyball playoff game as well. And it definitely had an effect. I think crowds have just a huge impact on sports. It's so fun that way.
Oh yeah. I can remember back, it's been a while now, but we got us boys when we were in high school, we got kicked out of a gym at Mayfield, one of the first games we went to, I think, because we were a little too rowdy. And it's a fun environment for sure. And the gyms get loud, and the Stivers
Yeah.
Center, great environment. What were you saying about Spirit Days? Take us through some of those. I haven't heard these.
So they've been trying to put this more in motion where they get like this idea of spirit night, but not like we've done blackout before and we've done whiteout, but they're like, we need to do something else. We need to have more of a spirit night. So last time what they did for spirit night, because they had Chick-fil-A sandwiches, is the high school kids, they decided to come as cows. So they like painted these little like black dots on their faces. They like wore like cow outfits. They like mooed and stuff. It was like, it was pretty exciting. So I hope we get something of that kind of weird caliber for Thursday. We'll see what they come up with. But it should be fun.
Yeah, indeed. The high school boys' imagination can be used in a good way sometimes. That's awesome. If you would talk about
Yeah.
the season, what this is, you guys are 18-5. You talked about a few games, but have there been any huge moments from this year where you were kind of like, man, this team's pretty good, or just some moments that stick out from a great season?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning, we didn't have a lot of like super intense competition right off the bat, and we really couldn't tell what type of team we were going to have. People come up to Mr. Parker and I and say, "Oh, how are the girls looking? How are the girls looking?" And it was hard to tell. We lost a couple really great seniors last year, Grace Pollock and Rachel Chang. They were two of our core defenders. And the year before, we had played with really great teams because of our defense. And so I didn't really know if we'd be able to play with the best teams just after losing those girls. So I would say the first time I really saw, oh, like we could be a really good team was kind of like when we started our league play, when we played Pauley away. that was probably like one of the best games I've seen our girls play. Just overall, like they played incredible defense and just great team basketball. It wasn't like one girl really like played better that game. They just all played together. And on that team, Polly, they have this really great shooter. Her name's Paige, and she can shoot anywhere on the court. And so on defense, we just couldn't ever like be lazy. We play a zone. And so like everyone had to know where the shooters were. And with girls, you never know. Like sometimes we are doing crazy stuff out there on defense, you know, like, and if you fall asleep, like they're going to take advantage of it. And so something we really did well that game was we just were able to play defense like all 4 quarters and hold them. And we were able to hit our free throws when it mattered. And so like seeing that type of play I think was super encouraging for us, because the girls were able to see like, wow, they were a great team and like we beat them. And it wasn't even by like 1 point at the end. It was, we were winning pretty much the whole way through. At the end, they did start coming back, but we did end up getting that win. And then from there, I would say like the other big games probably were our Providence away game on their homecoming night. First off, our girls were very upset because they made us wear white to an away game, which for girls is just unacceptable. You know, you can't do that because we love wearing black. and they had like tables set up. It was like this big game, and so like we're already upset about it, you know, like we're playing on their homecoming, we got to get them. But again, like they really came out, we played really hard, and there was just a lot of it was a tough game. It was really physical. And I remember at the end it came to a point where, you know, like in the last minute and a half we were only up I think by like 3 points. It was really close and you don't know what's going to happen. And at that point, we have a freshman on our player. I don't know if I've talked about her at all, but her name's Kare Riley. She's been awesome for us this season. And Tara Riley, she's our freshman, and she actually scores pretty consistently down low for us. But at that point in the game, she got a steal. And usually if you're ahead kind of in the end of the game, you know, you kind of like wait, you know, you try to strategize a little bit. But she got the ball and she had girls on her. She was going down the court. And I remember we were like, slow it down. And she went and she like made a layup with a bunch of girls on her. I was like, of course she makes the shot, you know, and that put us up by 5. And then I think like the next play down again, we're trying to get them to slow it down. We're like, slow it down. And Reagan hit a 3-pointer. And I'm like, well, you know, it's working out for us. We're up by 8 at this point in time, you know. So they came out and they played really well. But what I like about these guys is they, when things aren't going their way, like the calls aren't going their way, we're getting tackled, which happens in girls basketball. They keep fighting through it, and you know, they just pull together and they work together. And I've seen that happen multiple games, so it's been really exciting to watch.
Oh, it sounds like it. Definitely some excitement there to encourage people to get out to this game on Thursday. You know, scoring is cool. You know, all the cool stats are great, but you know, I'm always interested in that player that, I don't know, does the dirty work, doesn't get the headlines, but does the things that are, we'll say, necessary. Maybe roughs up someone on the other team. Maybe is the aggressive player, taking charges. I don't know. Who's that type of player on this team? If you had to sum them up, someone that is kind of that does all the unthankful work. I don't know what you would call it.
Man, that's tough because I have a couple people who I could put for there for different reasons. I mean, Tara is definitely one of them. I think Tara hit a bunch down low, and she's hitting people. And for a freshman, she's doing great at it. You know, I can't tell you how many girls on the other team Tara has offended. Many, but she plays really good defense down there.
Love it.
and she gets lots of steals for us. Emma's the other one who I would say, like, if they're getting a fast break, Emma's the one who's going down the court, and she's the one who's going to block them. Like, she's the one who's going to get down there. She's going to organize our defense. She's going to get the steals. Like, she kind of runs our defense, I would say.
Gotcha.
And she plays so hard. Yeah, she does a lot of our dirty work for sure.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Well, I'm sure it has to do a little bit with that Carson last name, maybe. What do you think? Could be. Let me ask, what was it? I think it was a few weeks ago. There was an inaugural.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was the Oh, we're breaking up here a little bit. Let me see. Our connection, we almost made it. We almost made it. We're starting to freeze a little bit here.
Academy Awards.
Academy Awards. There we go. Let me pause this to
No.
get straight. All right, we're going to try to finish this interview off here soon. We have some technical issues. There's a delay, so fans listening out there, just hey, bear with us for the next few minutes as I talk to Tiffany here. Tiffany, I was mentioning there was an inaugural a few weeks ago. The young ladies, got all dressed up like the young men did. The Academy Awards, I know, is always one of the favorite type of inaugurals. So if you could take us through that, and was there any, I don't know, surprises or any fun moments from that, as I'm sure all of us alumni can remember those fond memories?
Yeah, so I would say this year was especially fun because we let the high school just run it. Normally we have like leaders who present the awards or a leader who makes it. The high school did everything. They announced the winners, they made the PowerPoint, they put everything together. So, with that comes a lot of surprises. You never really know what's going to happen. Like there was one time we announced the winner before we showed the slideshow. There was like one time we like announced the wrong category. So like it was pretty all over the place for sure, but it was really fun, especially because we let the kids give acceptance speeches this time, which gave it a whole different dynamic for sure. Some of the kids really gave their all for that. One of my favorites is when a kid won and he reached into his pocket and pulled out a speech. We had not told them about acceptance speeches, and he reached into his pocket, he unrolls his paper, and then he just says, "Thank you." And then he closes his paper and puts it back in. And I'm just like, that's phenomenal. So yeah, they were awesome. But yeah, we did the categories, like you normally do. Best athlete, best dressed, most tech savvy, all the greats.
And the red carpet, was the red carpet there with the leaders and everyone with the flash mobs and all that still?
That was the only downside this time because we only had an auditorium with 100 seats, and we have 100 high school kids. So we weren't able to like get a lot of other people to come and greet them. Their parents were there though, and they greeted them, but no like elaborate red carpet like we used to have. So
nice,
that was a good time before.
Good memories. And who was the new high school president? I don't even think I recognize that.
Yeah, so our new high school president this year is Zane Fruitwall, and we actually switched it this year. So instead of having two presidents, we only have one. Oh. So like our second inaugural was just more of a social, I would say. But we're letting them do like a whole year because normally you can't get much done the first semester. So we were like, you know what? We're going to give you the whole year to run the academy, see what you can do. So.
That's cool. No, I like that. That is different, unique, little bit of a change. Yeah, I knew he was the president in the fall. So okay, I've always said with Mark, there's some changes at Rio. There's some great traditions still, but it's things change here and there, and not all change is bad. Although we do love our traditions and stuff too. So, Tiffany, this has been fun. I'm excited about the playoff game for you guys this Thursday. If you guys win, you will play Saturday, but we want to do one game at a time here. If you would, your final pitch to the fans out there, why they should come out if they haven't even been to a game this year, why they should come out and support the Rio Hondo Prep Cares.
So first off, for all the people who have been coming to our games, man, we love you so much. We've had some great fans at our games, and we've just felt so supported. And yeah, I would love for everyone to come out Thursday. There's nothing like a home game in Stivers Center. I mean, the intensity and just high school sports, there's nothing like it. And these girls have just worked so hard. We've got seniors on the team who they're just excited to get out there and play. And I think just all the girls are excited to just play and just, give the glory to God out there. So if you want a great Thursday evening, definitely come to Stivers Center. That's where it's going to be at. So
that sounds great. And still, are the tickets on CIF tickets online, like the football app, or what's the best way to deal with that?
I think so. I think it's online. But I have not heard much about that. So hopefully we'll post it on RHP so that you guys can see.
We'll share all that. And as far as for those people like out of state, is there a way to watch the game? Can they watch it on NFHS? Have your games been broadcast this year?
Yeah, so I do believe our playoff game was was cast on NFHS for volleyball. Unfortunately, we can't cast it if it's a playoff game, but it should be up on NFHS for anyone who's out of state to watch.
Okay, cool. So maybe renew that
Mhm.
that membership for a day if for those of us that canceled ours or whatever. So it's not always the best quality, but it's something. It's a
Yep,
way for
that's
people to watch.
yes, for sure.
Well, Tiffany, good luck. Hey, I'm hoping next Sunday that we're chatting again, perhaps maybe after a couple of playoff wins. We'll see how it goes, one game at a time. Good luck
Yeah.
to your team. Give my best to Coach Parker, and yeah, we'll be rooting for you guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I hope to see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks so much, Tiffany Horton, assistant coach for the Real Hondo Prep, cares on the girls basketball program. Appreciate all of her hard work and dedication to not just the basketball program, but to the young ladies and the entire high school there in the Real Hondo Prep. Some fun topics and moments there. Hopefully that encourage you guys to get out and watch the game. And if nothing else, maybe tune in online. I know NFHS isn't always great, but we'll try to keep you guys updated on Twitter, on Facebook, however we can on the podcast. Not sure if I can be in attendance or not, but we'll try to tune in one way or another and keep everyone updated of the postseason run here for the Real Hondo Prep girls basketball team. It's fun being back, talking Rio sports, and looking forward to, of course, the football season. But we got the girls basketball playoff run here that we're going to try to cover, do our best, and pay tribute to those young ladies, the girls that you heard their names mentioned here. Thank you for dealing with our technical issues. Hopefully it comes out okay. But looking forward to those girls continuing to represent Rio for not just one game, but multiple games here in the postseason. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll do something similar to this if the boys make a run in baseball or the girls are in the playoffs for softball. We'll try to keep the fans updated because it's tough following all the teams. Everyone's got families and other things going on, but we're going to do our best to keep the Real Hondo family informed and keep them updated on everything going on Real Hondo Prep Sports. Thursday night, 7:00 at Stivers Center there in at Real Hondo Prep, a home game. You're only that's the only one you're guaranteed, right? There may not be another one, you never know. And hopefully there's a few games down the road, but come on out to the game if you can. I'm sure tickets are, $10 or so for CIF prices. And if you can't, hey, what's $10 or whatever it is for a month to get maybe a couple of real girls games here on the NFHS network. Good luck, Lady Cares, to all the names mentioned and the great seniors and the entire team. I know they're going to represent us well, and looking forward to a postseason run here. Thursday, game 1. Hopefully there's a game Saturday night as well. And the Cares are off and running here in the second season. Well, the third season after a great successful, few games in the prep league. They are ready to survive and advance. This time of year is what it's all about. Thanks for tuning in to this very special edition of the Charge to Keep podcast, the official podcast of Real Hondo Prep Athletics, mostly football, but other sports as well as promised. So looking forward to the game. We'll see you there. If not, keep your phones by you and let's stay updated on all of the evening's activities. Go Rio, go Cares, make us proud, work hard, play hard. And as always, guys, it's a reminder to everyone out there who wears the Real Hondo Prep uniform, past, present, and future, to always be humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.